Joe Louis, champion of them all, Bourbon, presents The Making of Champions. In honor and respect for the legacy of Joe Louis, the longest reigning world heavyweight champion who became the first African-American national hero who served in World War II, contributing to the morale of the troops, broke through the color barrier in professional golf, and helped pave the way for future generations of civil rights activists. Each new episode celebrates people who follow in his lead, accomplishing extraordinary things to inspire a new generation of champions. It begins now with your hosts, Tanya Cole and Marquise John.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for our return episode of The Making of Champions. Of course, you know I always have with me my good friend, Marquise Johns. Now, Marquise, the intro photo there told us a little bit about what you're not doing anymore. So give us a quick update and then introduce our guest for tonight.
Absolutely. Small detail on the front page. Currently working over at no longer at Big Fight Weekend, currently over at nyfights.com in terms of boxing, writing, and media and everything along those lines. They've been paying, thank you so much, Tanya. They've been paying for the most part, essentially here this year. But our guest is a returning one from last year, and one I wanted to get to for a long time, and actually talked about her for her career as well. We are talking to a former fighter of 20 years in both boxing and MMA, public speaker, now actually a professional weightlifter, and was actually seen in weightlifting championships as well. We are joined, Tanya, once again by Chavelle Hallback.
Hello, what's going on?
Chavelle, how you doing, dear?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
First things first, I don't know if you noticed this, but the last time I saw you, actually, it was in the distance, actually. I saw your last fight over at the I know it as the KO clinic. I think there's been 14 different things now, but just walk me back to your last fight that took place. Okay,
so I'm not exactly sure what fight you're talking about, but my last fight was in my hometown, Plant City. Mm-hmm. You're talking, okay, KO, okay, pro boxing, pro boxing. Okay, pro boxing. Okay, that's the name of the promotional company. Man, that fight was a very exciting fight. I fought a female up and coming. She signed with DeBella. Hannah, was it Hannah? No, not Hannah. What's her name? I can't even remember her name. That's crazy. But anyway, she's about, I think, like 10 years younger than I am, 10 or 20 years younger than I was. She came in, believe it or not, as the favorite to win in my hometown. So disrespectful. They had me on the B side, had me as the opponent. I don't know what they was thinking. I guess I'm assuming, because of my age, they thought that, hadn't been in the ring a while, ring rust with age, that, that it would be an easy win for her. But yeah, I took her to school. I had to show her why I'm a 5-time world champion. I had to show her why I was called Fist of Steel. I had to show her why a lot of female is reluctant to come up against me. I had to show her that. And needless to say, I won. I won a dramatic style. I mean, I put a beating on her, to be honest with you. On all scorecards, I won every round, hands down. But it was an exciting fight. I thanked her for fighting me because, like I said, it's very few females that want to, even at this stage in my career, is wanting to face me. And she stepped up to the plate and was brave enough to face me, and gave her a lot of encouraging words after the fight. One day, if she continue and train hard, one day she will be a champion.
So I know with that fight against Logan Haller.
Yeah, thank you.
That was her name. Yeah, I know you gave her a nice little lesson there. So what do you think that she will take away from that fight? Because I know that she took that fight knowing she was fighting the best of the best of the best.
Right.
What do you think was her takeaway?
She gave me a good fight. I didn't get the knockout, so she could be proud of that, But also, she was in there with someone that was very, very skilled. Not only have I been in the ring a long time, but I am a very skilled fighter. And she was able to get a couple of good shots off. And so she should be proud of that. You know, she stayed in there with a veteran, not only just a veteran, but a good veteran. And I'm pretty sure that she was able to learn some things, you know, and take away that, you know, that if she like continue, you know what I'm saying, she can be on top, she can be a world champion. She was able to hold her own, you know, quite a bit. So hopefully I think that she took a lot of confidence that, you know, that she can bang with the big girls as far as experience. When I say big girls, because she was much bigger than I was, but she can bang with the big girls as far as experience is concerned. You know, that she can hang in there, and if she continued to train and get more experience under her belt, you know, she can go far.
Take us back to your comeback fight with Sabatos. I had a chance to watch that, and you know, you were looking like Neo on the Matrix. I mean, you were every punch you were just moving out of her way, and it didn't look like it was a well contested fight on her end. Can you take us back to that fight, walk us through that fight, and talk to us about that journey of yours from that start of your quote unquote comeback to now?
Man, I think I hadn't fought in 5 years, I want to say,
Yes.
before I fought her. And I didn't retire. Everyone thought I retired and I was making a comeback. No, I didn't retire. Like I said previously, it's very, very difficult to get females to fight me. They had to go way overseas, you know, to get someone. And she was ranked in the top 10 at the time as well. I think she previously fought Clarissa Shields. So she was in their eyes, a good opponent for me, a durable opponent, someone that's very, very hard to stop. So I was I was nervous. Well, I'm always nervous before a fight. That's nothing new. But I was nervous being that, like I said, 5 years out of the ring. That's a lot of ring rust. And to fight someone, she was younger than I was, and she had been active, you know, in the top 10. So I was a little bit nervous about that. But I kept in my mind, be you. I kept telling myself, be you. Like you said, I'm very lucid when I'm in the ring. It's very hard to hit me. If I go in there and if I relax and I just have fun and show the gifts that has been given to me, the fight is easy. The training is the hardest part. The fight is easy. And during training, leading up to that fight, I bust my tail. 5 years is a long time to be out of the ring. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it. I know, you know, people out there are going to be like, what? When I'm not preparing for a fight, like I'm in the gym, maybe lifting weights here and there, but I'm not running. I'm not in the gym, going to the gym every day training. You know, I'm just living life, doing other things that I do. So when they say you got a fight coming up, then that's when I actually start training. So 5 years of not doing anything, dealing with boxing, and to train, I trained my butt off, and I struggled. I struggled to get my wind back up. Mm-hmm. I struggled to get my timing back. I struggled to get my speed back. I struggled, but I overcame, and that's why I was so nervous about that fight, because I'm like, wow, it's been 5 years. Do I still got it? You know, and people will start sometimes, if you allow people to get into your head, you start playing mind tricks. You're old. You're not like you used to be. You're washed up. You're this. You're that. And when people would tell me that, I'm like, nah, I'll show you. I'll show you. But in training, in the beginning of training, my punches was not coming off crisper like they usually come off, and I'm slower than usual, and and getting hit too many times. Then those words that people would say to me start playing in my head. Well, maybe I am time for me to hang it up. Maybe, maybe I have lost it. Maybe Father Time has caught up with me. Maybe, But then I had to come to a point. I had to block those things out of my head and believe within myself, my abilities and what I can do. And I dug deep and training and kept training and kept training and kept, going to the gym and putting in that work, putting in that time. And it started to come back. It started to come back. So when I got in that ring, like, oh yeah, you in trouble, young lady. You in a lot of trouble, you know. And then I had to show the naysayers. Yes, I am. As we, each and one of us, as we grow older, as we get up each and every day, we're gonna get older. We're gonna grow older. But just because I'm getting, and I had to show my naysayers, baby, I'm not old by a long shot. I still got the jewels, you know. And I had to show that. I had to show it to her, and I had to show it to the crowd, you know. And I pulled it off, and to the point where I beat her so bad. I'm not the type of person that brag about what I do, but I beat her so bad that I was a fluke. They was like, nah, they couldn't understand it. And they wanted to do it again. Okay. And I think 3 months later we did it again. And the same results, but a little worse. Like, I think I broke her nose the second time. I mean, it was even worse, you know? And if I don't know if you saw the first fight or the second fight, but that second fight, I had the opportunity to knock her out if I wanted to, but I did not want to. I really wanted to punish her because I almost felt a little disrespected that you thought it was a fluke that you want to do it again. So, okay, now I'm going to really punish you, you know? And it was, I don't know, it was an awesome feeling to be able to not only show the audience, my fans, my naysayers, but myself. You still got it. You still got it.
And I'm going to go back to that fight in Itty Bitty Plant City.
Itty Bitty Plant City.
What was that like, stepping into the ring in your hometown? All the fights that you fought, you never got the opportunity to fight in your hometown. What was that feeling like?
You know what, to be honest with you, I know this might come as a surprise, but it wasn't a feeling that I thought it would be.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, like I said, I really felt disrespected. It was my hometown, first time fighting home. And when the opportunity was presented to me, I really thought that they was on my side, you know? But come to find out, no, I was just an opponent. She was signed by DeBella. So DeBella reached out to them, needed a fight for her. They said me. So it was all about her. At the weigh-in, the reporters was there, interviewing and everything. They ran to her. Pay me no mind. Okay. When the lineup, the night of the fight, when the lineup came, no, at the weigh-in, the lineup came, I found out I was on the B side. Okay. Then we were fighting at 154 pounds. The gloves are 8 ounce up to 154. They try to give us 10 ounce. I said, no, not going for that. Has to be 8 ounce, 154, 8 ounce. So they went to the commissioner. Commissioner was like, yes, she's correct. You have to find some 8 ounce gloves. So they found 8 ounce gloves, and then they presented the gloves to me. I picked my gloves. She picked her gloves. So I'm in the room getting ready, and they come back to me, and they was like, hey, she wants those gloves that you picked. Excuse me? Yeah, she wants those gloves. I said, she want these gloves? Yes. She want the black gloves. There was a black pair and a white pair. And I picked the black pair. And so they came and said she wanted the black pair. I said, well, look, if she want a black pair of gloves, I suggest that you all go find her a black pair of gloves, because these gloves she will not be getting. I'm sorry. Game over. Right. I know, they try to play a lot of mind games, and it's cool, no problem. I've been in the game a long time. And majority of my career, I fought, elsewhere. I never had fought home per se. The closest I had ever fought home was in Tampa or St. Petersburg. But I never fought in Plant City. Throughout my career, it was either overseas or in other states. Okay. So I was used to that, So I was like, but no, she's not getting these gloves. You're going to have to go find her another pair of gloves or some gloves like these, but she's not getting these. So they went back and forth, and they saw that they could not make me give up those gloves, being that they gave the gloves to me. They gave me a choice of which gloves I wanted to wear. I chose my gloves. Okay, so that's that. Then, five-time world champion, my hometown, they had me fighting second on the card.
Oh, wow.
Right.
For those who don't understand that, usually on a fight card, usually about five to 10 fights, give or take. And if they had you second, Chavelle, that means that people were still in the parking lot or still at will call, still getting beer. Right. So they didn't see it.
Exactly. So when I went out, there was hardly nobody there. You know, I had to call my family members. Hey, I'm fighting second. You better get here, you know. And I had a lot of people to buy tickets. A lot of people that came out to support me. When they got there, I had already fought. So I didn't get that experience that I thought that I would get fighting in my hometown. You know, and I really, I could be wrong, but I really believe that was another part of the strategy mind game to get me out of my, out of my element, to get me out of my game. But it didn't work. You know, it didn't work. At the end of the day, when I get inside that ring, that's like home. You know, I'm having fun, but on top of that, I'm taking care of business. And that just fueled me to do even more, to fuel me, okay, now I have to show you, okay, once again, okay. And I literally, before I could even step out the ring, I literally had people come up to me that was a part of pro boxing, and they apologized to me. They told me, we really thought you was going to lose. We really didn't think you was going to win this fight. And then, after the fight was over, the reporters, they're running to me. Now they want to interview me. Now they want to talk to me, you know. And I mean, like I said, you know, it really was a hurtful experience, but I overcame it. You know, I'm all good. But because I always said before I retired, I really, really want to fight in my hometown of Plant City, you know, and that wasn't it. That's not what I envisioned. That wasn't it. So hopefully, you know, I haven't hung up the gloves quite yet. So hopefully, you know, maybe I'll get the opportunity, you know, to really fight at home the way it should be done.
And thank you for sharing that. I know that you've said that nobody retires Chavelle Hallback except for Chavelle Hallback.
That's correct.
All right. And speaking of switching it up a bit and overcoming, tell us about what you just did. You shifted over to powerlifting.
Yeah.
Walk us through that. How did you get to that point? And then walk us through the championships.
Yeah, how did you sign up for this, Chavelle?
We've got a video queued up. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess the video went away. But go back to that. Tell us how you got into it, how that got started, and walk us through the championships.
Yeah.
Man, listen. I've been an athlete all my life, right? And I remember as a teenager, this is before boxing, I always go to the weight. I used to run track. And so I would always go in the weight room and I would see the guys bench pressing. Man, I want to bench press. I want to be able to bench press, right? And I grew up, you know, and I was able, when I first started, this is when I was a teenager, just lifting weights. I was able to lift a bar. I'm like, cool. And my goal was to lift the 245, the 45 plates on the side, which would be 135 pounds. They call Cadillac, both sides, right? And that was my goal. And I got up to that point where I was able to lift it 10 times. I was like, yeah. And then I was like, you know what? I always wanted to lift 2 Cadillacs. I always want to do that, right? But could never do it. So with boxing, when I started boxing, they would always tell you you're not supposed to lift weights. That would slow you down. That would shorten up your arm. That would this, that would that. But I was so used to lifting weights, like doing track or whatnot, that became a part of my training. I have to lift weights. Coach, I got to lift weights. It just mentally made me feel stronger. It made me, you know, feel like, I don't know, I just had to lift weights. So I would lift weights, but not really heavy. I did a lot of reps. whatnot. But then there was time where I would try to see how heavy I can lift, right? And so I got up to 205 was the highest I've ever lifted ever in my life back when I was a teenager, back when I first started boxing. So now I'm like, okay, I haven't gotten a fight, don't have a fight coming up. I'm in the gym, I'm working out, I love lifting weights. So I'm getting on the bench, and I'm like, boom, let's see how much I can lift. I lift and I'm like, oh, okay. Lift again. I'm like, oh, okay. It's got higher and higher. All right. So the deadlift, like, I've always been scared of the deadlift because I never really understood what the deadlift was for. And then the technique, the form, I was like, it just looked crazy to me. So I was like kind of reluctant to try it. One night, I don't know, something said, just try it. So I did. And I worked my way up to like 2 something. And they was like, wow, you never deadlift before? And this was in December. You never deadlift before? Never deadlift before. It was my first time. You pretty strong to never have deadlift before, right? So this guy named Mike Biting, and this guy named Marcus Derby. They belong to the gym that I go to. And Mike, he first came up to me, you know what? You strong. You need to compete. You ever thought about powerlifting? I'm like, no. I said, but I always been wanting to bench press and see how much I can lift, No, you should try. You should try powerlifting. Marcus, talk to her. Stay on her. She need to put the gloves up and try powerlifting, right? And so, I mean, for maybe like a month, he kept coming at me about that, coming at me about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. I said, I'm gonna give it a try. He's like, great. There's one coming up in February, and this and this and this and that. I'm like, okay. Now the plan was to only do bench press and deadlift, right?
Okay.
So when I entered this competition, it was only bench press. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So I train and I train and I train. Now, a little thing about me. Whatever I do, I don't care what it is, I have to be the best. Like, I want to be the best in any and everybody that has ever did it. Not like just that had ever did it, right? So I immediately went in to see what is the world record. And then I find out, well, there's records depending on your age and your weight class and this and that. Oh, what is the limit, or what is the person that has done the best in my age group and my weight class? And then for the American, the state for Florida is 175. And in the gym, I'm throwing up like 187, 205, I'm like, man, that's easy. I got it. I'm going for the record, right? So now, mind you, I had started like really, really training in December, right? Mm-hmm. So when I got to the meet, I think it was like 14 girls. And I'm all excited and everything. So when you first weigh in, you have to tell them it's just 3 lifts. And when you first weigh in, so they have to check your weight to make sure. I competed in the weight class where I couldn't go over 167 pounds. It was either 154 or 167. Okay. I'm like, I weigh like 165 right now, right? So I was like, well, I can't do the 154 or whatnot. I'm just going 167. Okay, fine. So you have to tell them what your first weight is going to be. So I said 165. Now my first weight that I was going to press was higher than all the other females. So because of that, I had to go last, right? Now, I didn't compete open. Open means you compete against everybody. Doesn't matter what weight class there are. You competing against them as far as how much weight you press. Mm-hmm. But I decided my first competition, I was going to stay within my age group, which was 50 to 59. And the record there, like I said, was 175. So first lift, boom, did it with ease. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. So After your first lift, you have 3 minutes to tell the guy in the back what your second lift is going to be, right? So I already knew going in that I was going to go for the record. So my trainer said, listen, we said we're going to go for the record on your third lift, but let's go ahead and try it on your second lift, just in case something happened. You maybe get disqualified for something, your butt come off the bench, or, anything can happen. Yeah. You have at least that third lift to go for it again.
Yeah.
I said, okay, cool. So I told the guy, now before me, like I said, there was other females before me because my first lift was the heaviest lift, so I went last. Now there was some females before me, my second lift, in their age group, in their weight class, where they were trying to break records too, and a couple of them did. And as they did it, the announcer like, oh, we have a new record, da-da-da. They're just announcing, and the crowd go wild, and this and that, right? So I'm waiting like, yeah, I can't wait till he say that for me, right? So after my first lift, you have 3 minutes to tell the guy what your next lift is going to be. So I told him, I said, listen, I said, my next lift is going to be 181. He was like, okay. I said, that'll be breaking a record. That'll be a new record. He was like, okay. I'm like, okay. So call my name. I go up there. Boom. Now, how it works is if you need someone to hand it off to you, you can. So hand it off to me. And you have to hold it up in the air until they say drop. Then you drop the weight. But you have to keep it there until they say press or back up, right?
All right.
So for whatever reason, I felt like when it was my turn and they hand me the weight and I'm holding it up in the air, and I held that weight for a lot of seconds. Like, why am I holding the weight other than the other females? Like, but okay. So I'm holding up. He said, drop. I drop it. Press. I pressed it. It was like, whoa, she did that with ease, right? And that was it. And in front of everyone. And I turned around and looked at the announcer. I said, hey, didn't I just break a record? He was like, excuse me? I said, didn't I just break a record? I said, the record was 175. I just lifted 181. Isn't that a record? Well, I don't know. You got to ask the guy in the back. Okay.
And you did. And you
and
did.
I did. And I did.
You're a powerlifting record breaker, championship powerlifter on your first try, and arguably one of the most recognized, not just female boxers, but boxers of all time. And we want to thank you for coming out for this first half of the episode of the Making of Champions. Don't leave us, Chavelle, because we want to hear more from you and about your inspiring present and legacy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.